Hello everyone, it's been a while. I'm going to attempt to make a video here. This is a continuation of the sex, blood, and the single digit code video I made years ago. As a matter of fact, this whiteboard here, this is the last time I made a whiteboard video. I was using this exact board back in May 28th, 2020. It's been like this for 2 years on my wall. There's so much on here that I love to look at. That's why I've kept it up, because I love looking at it even still. But basically what we're going to talk about is human sexuality, the nature and natural dynamic of human sexuality, and why things are the way they are, and why things are messed up. I'm going to try to cover that. If you want to get the basics of what I'm talking about in this, just go back and watch that video. I'll put it in the description of this because the basics are going to be there. I'm going to try to avoid talking about too much of that on this, but what the basics are is basically this. Human beings go through their childhood of 0 to 18, and then from 18 to 36, and remember this is just a model, okay? The 18 to 36 is just a model based on the single digit code of 0 through 9, but there's two phases of that code, 0 through 9 and then 9 through 18, that covers both halves of it. I explained that in other videos. But so the model is basically 18-year increments, okay, the phases of life. So 0 to 18, the person goes through their childhood in their teen years, okay, and then from 18 on, in the world we live in today, they're just thrown out in the wild and expected to learn everything on their own, right, without any proper guidance. And that's one of the big problems of the world, is that we've lost touch with the importance of gender. And this is, you see this all over the place in the media. I mean, people don't even know who they are anymore. They don't even know what they are. They don't understand. I mean, the confusion of gender is a very toxic thing. And it's actually funny. One of my earlier videos that I made years ago is like one of the Tree of Life videos, the early ones before like the whiteboard stuff took off, was how they are distorting basic concepts like gender, and it was like right around that time that things started to get really crazy, and now it's insane. I mean, I don't think anyone disagrees with that. It's just absolutely off the charts insanity what's going on with gender roles today. It's just no one knows who they are anymore. And they do that on purpose because it's fundamental of life. But anyway, the foundation of what happens is that men, and you have to remember that one of the core rules, or one of the core attributes of the difference between men and women, because you have to understand, men and women are different. They are the opposites. Men and women are supposed to be harmonized opposites, not equal. Equality is stagnation and death, always. There is no such thing as equality. Flat line. Equality is a flat line, basically, and a flat line is death. But so one of the core principles is the sexual marketplace value for men and women. And men and women have their highest sexual marketplace values at different times of life. For a girl, her highest sexual marketplace value is when she's younger, at 18, and it diminishes over time. And a boy's sexual marketplace value isn't guaranteed at all. That's the difference between boys and girls. Like, the girls, as long as she's healthy and beautiful and fertile and stuff, she basically has a guaranteed sexual marketplace value. A boy doesn't. A boy has to earn his sexual marketplace value, and there is no guarantee he ever will. Okay? So at 18, the boy only has potential. He has to be proven. So in his years from 18 to 36, somewhere within that time frame, the boy is going to be tested. And if he survives, if he passes that test, then he'll be permitted to breed, and then he'll be able to get the young girl who's 18 and ready and waiting for him. Like, one of the problems is we're pairing people at the wrong age. And again, go back and watch that earlier video. That explains it in more detail. I'm just going to brush on it here quickly just so you know what's going on. But so what happens is the older man is going to be paired with the younger woman. Okay, and they're going to be, because what happens at 18 is what I call your second childhood. At 18 begins your second childhood, and what that childhood is going to be is your sexual childhood. So you're going to get basically new parents, a new set of sexual parents who are going to teach you the ways of sexuality, and they're going to guide you through it properly. Okay? So what's going to happen is the older man, it could be anywhere from 27 to 36 or higher, is going to be paired with a younger woman at 18, and he's going to be married to her. You know, she's going to be given to him as a wife. And one of the problems that you got to understand is that marriage isn't about love. It's not about love. Marriage is a business. Marriage is a business to build strong families. And love, that type of love is a delusion. And that's one of the things you learn as you get older. Like, that love that you feel at that young age, it feels like it's eternal, and it feels like it's the most powerful thing on earth, and it is, but the thing is, it's a delusion. And when it goes away, it's as if it never existed, and it will go away. That's the problem. So, young people at 18, boys or girls, are not in a position to be able to make a wise decision of who they should be paired with in the marriage. Like, remember, the marriage isn't about love. The marriage is about building strong families and breeding strong, healthy, fit children who can continue the line. That's what it is. Not about love. Love is the delusion that brings you together. Love is the chemistry, the sexual chemistry that brings you together. And the truth is, you know, the girl is going to love whoever is nice to her, basically, and whoever, you know, gives her the dick well. I mean, that's all it's going to take. If you're nice to the girl, you fucking give her presents and treat her nice, and you fucking give her the dick well, she is going to love you. Period. I mean, she's going to love you, right? So this idea that the girl has to fall in love, and one of the biggest problems is saying that that you're putting this vast decision in the hands of a girl who's 18 years old, expecting her to pick her mate for life. I mean, that's insane. She's not going to be ready to do that until she develops wisdom much later in life. I mean, and by then it's too late. So no, the people who are going to pick the marriages are going to be the parents. That's why I support arranged marriages. And I know a lot of people are going to lose their shit about me saying that, arranged marriages. They're like, what is this? Is this like Islam, or is this medieval Europe? What the fuck? But no, it isn't. Remember, if you have people who are raised properly, that's the thing. Because remember, because people today aren't raised properly. Because some of the comments I got in the last video about this is, oh, my father was a piece of shit. He fucking molested me. He fucking did this. He was a fucking jerk. He's a fucking asshole. My mom was a fucking drunk. And she was yeah, but they weren't raised properly. They weren't raised properly. They should never have been allowed to breed. Right? That's what I'm talking about. If you take a concept and you don't apply it properly, it's going to be distorted and out of tune. Right? So, if you do it properly, you're not going to have that problem. Because you're going to have older, wiser people making sound decisions for you, and then you're going to be in a much better position to succeed because of that. And then when it becomes your turn as you get older, and you've been raised properly, then you'll have the good foundation of wisdom and good judgment to be able to do the same for your children and make good, solid decisions for them. You know what I mean? So it's a continuation. It's a chain that continually links. But if you start putting bad links in that through improper breeding and improperly raising people, then you're going to get a broken, weak chain, and you're going to have a mess like we have today. We have a mess today. And so what's going to happen is the older man is going to be paired with the younger woman, and she is going to be, and they are going to be husband and wife, and he's going to be the father of her children. But he's also going to teach her about sex too. So she's going to learn, and by the time she gets older and has had all her children, then she's going to be, because remember the foundation of the question, the root of the question is, why do men get to fuck around and have multiple partners but women don't? Well, the answer is they do, and they will, but not right away. They will get their turn later in life to basically screw around and have multiple partners after they've had their children, after their job is done. And men will have it earlier, but it's going to be with the older women. So what's going to happen is the young girl is going to go to 0 to 18. She's going to start having her family, right? She's going to start pumping out kids, ideally every other year. That's ideally. So, but in this, from 18 to 36, say, a woman can have like 6 kids or so, or more. If she has one child every other year, that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of children. That's a big family is what they should be having. But we don't have that today, because what's happening is we're encouraging women to go to school, focus on careers, and then what happens is they go to college, so they're spending the most fertile years in college basically being whores, because what do you think is going to happen if you don't guide a woman? I mean, you're basically throwing the treasure of your race out the door and basically having her fend for herself, right? And what do you think is going to happen? Sex feels good. And once she gets a taste of sex, forget it, it's over. She's going to want more of it. And just like anybody, just like any boy, he's going to want more of it. And the problem with women is that it's so available for women, because women, everybody wants to have a piece of her, right? And the boy, it's not so simple. The boy has to be fit and worthy of a man to be able to get any pussy at all, basically. And if he's not going to get any. But if the woman is beautiful and hot and sexy, she's going to have men just jumping down her throat. I mean, she's not going to be able to stand a chance. And this is why it's up to the father and the brothers and the men of the family to protect the woman, and protect her from the other men, but also protect her from herself. So when you encourage women to go to college and get careers, they're wasting the most fertile years basically trying to be men. You're training them to be men and focus on their careers. So by the time they start having their kids in their 30s, they are not the same women anymore. They're not young, because part of the attractiveness of young girls to older men is that they're beautiful, they're fertile, they're sexy, but they're also girly. They're very childlike in a way, meaning they're still naive. They're still naive. They still have this sense of wonder in the world. They're easily impressionable. All this wonderful stuff. And a man, that's like kryptonite. That's like fucking. He's gonna become more alpha because of that. But it's his job to guide her through those early years. But she's going to be having her kids then. And then by the time she gets older, she's going to change. Because what happens with a woman is, once she starts having her kids... Now, here's the thing about love, too. This is a very, very important thing about love. Is that the initial attraction, right? If you... Like, the woman is going to fall in love with easily. She's going to fall in love, don't worry. She's going to fall in love. And one of the men there's going to be suitors, and the more beautiful she is, the more suitors she's going to have. So, she's going to be able to play at least some role in saying who she likes and who she doesn't like, and who she wants to be with and who she doesn't, right? So once it's finally decided who she's going to marry when she's 18, she's going to fall in love with that man. Don't worry about that. He's going to be strong. He's going to be fit. He's going to be trained sexually. He's going to have money. He's going to have a home. He's going to have everything to provide a nest for her to where she can start getting pregnant and having children. And there's going to be no uncertainty. There's going to be no sense of dread, no sense of fear, no anxiety, no nothing, because he's going to have it all already. Because if he doesn't have it all, he's not going to be there. If he goes through that gauntlet of training and he's unable to get it done, he's going to be washed out. He's not going to be chosen to breed. He's not going to be chosen to pair with anybody, because he's a loser, right? Only the best men are going to make it through the gauntlet and be permitted to breed. So the man that she's paired with is going to be a fucking stud. He's going to be alpha. He's going to be a man. He's going to be able to provide and care for her and provide her the atmosphere, this bubble that she's going to have her children in. And then once she starts, now here's the key. See, the woman is going to fall in love with this man, okay? And she's going to love him. He's going to be her world, because we've all seen it. I mean, all you have to do is look at any young girl that falls in love. She is fucking head over heels with this guy. She just loves him. She can't keep away from him. She just wants to be around him. She wants to fuck him all the time. She wants everything. She wants to touch him, everything, right? She's just so in love with this guy. She can't do enough for him, right? And that's going to happen with the guy, right? But now here's the kick in the balls for the man, okay, is what happens when she gets knocked up, when she gets pregnant. That love for him is out the door, because what he's going to do is as soon as she becomes pregnant, and she knows it, and then that baby starts growing inside of her, she is going to discover her true love. And that true love is her children. And once she feels that love for her children, forget it. There's nothing that guy can ever do again. He's only going to be a tool. He's only going to be a commodity to make sure that she can have her children. And once she has her children, the true love, that is it. Her true love, her true and greatest love is not him, it's her children. And there's nothing that will ever get in the way of that. So he's done. So now, but the problem is that now the older man is going to be ready for that. The older man's going to know that. So he's going to kind of be chuckling under his, under his breath. He's going, because this girl's going to be loving him. This girl's going to be fucking doting on him. She's going to be so happy with him. She's going to be so in love with him. He's going to be like, he's going to know, yeah. He's going to know the truth. He's going to know that as soon as she gets pregnant and has a kid, that's going to go out the door. And he knows that, and he's ready for that. It's no big deal for him because he's had sexual experience. He knows he's not going to be blindsided by this. But if you do that to an 18-year-old boy, you're going to traumatize that kid and break him. So if you expose that love, that fucking love of a woman to that boy who's 18 years old, he's going to be like, oh my God, I am such a stud. He goes, I am fucking king shit. I am alpha. I am fucking the best. This is the greatest feeling on earth, that this woman loves me. I can do anything, man. And it's true. I mean, if you've ever fallen in love before, you know it is the best. It feels so good. You're so empowered. You can do anything if you're a man in love, man. You can do anything. There's nothing you won't do. There's nothing you can't do. You are king shit when that happens. But now, what happens is this 18-year-old boy who hasn't learned anything and hasn't gone through the gauntlet and gained wisdom, once she gets pregnant and has that baby, and all of a sudden that fucking switch is flipped, he's not going to be able to understand that. He's not going to be able to process that. He's going to be like, what the fuck? What's happening? This bitch doesn't even look at me anymore. She doesn't want sex from me anymore. She doesn't want anything. All she cares about is her fucking baby now. Right? And now I'm just basically a tool. I'm basically like a fucking hammer at this point. You know what I mean? I'm just a provider, and she's probably not going to be, because she's so young and naive, she's probably not going to realize what she's doing to him, but she's destroying him. And then what happens is when they both get to 30s, their 30s, they're going to get divorced. And then she's gonna go on, and that's it. And then it's fucking broken. Then you have another broken family. And so that's not. But the older man is going to be ready for that. Why is he going to be ready for that? Because he's going to have been trained from the younger years. So what happens is the girl has all her children between 18 and 36, and then when she gets older, she is going to be permitted to go back and teach these younger men how to be men. So a young man, remember, the 18-year-old only has potential to be the provider. He hasn't been proven yet. And it's her job to teach him to do that. So she's going to go back. She's going to have her family. She's going to have her husband. Nothing's going to change that. The husband's going to know what she's doing. So it's not going to be cheating. So it's not going to be like she's looking for a new lover or she's looking for a new husband, a new provider. That's not the case, because once they get married, that's it. That marriage is in stone, and it's not breaking. There is going to be no divorce, except in the most extreme circumstance. So what happens is the older woman is going to go back now. There's going to be a pool, this candidate of the pool of 18-year-old boys that she's going to be responsible for teaching how to become men, and she's going to be fucking them. And she's going to be teaching them about the ways of sex. But now the thing is, she's not a naive girl anymore. She's a woman who has developed wisdom and strength through raising her children. So part of what happens with women from 18 to 36 is they're having their children, they're raising their children, and what that is doing is it's teaching them how to develop their masculine self in a healthy manner. So by the time they get older, the women are going to be wise, they're going to develop their wisdom, and they're also going to be much more independent naturally at that age, and they're going to know, and they're not going to fall in love with the younger boy just like the older guy is not going to be fucking bamboozled by the love spell of the younger girl either. They're both going to have enough experience to know what the fuck's going on and enough wisdom to know what's going on. So she's going to go back and help this younger man teach him about sex. Now, the beauty of this is the boy is still going to get the king shit feeling because this older, experienced woman is teaching him how to fuck, teaching him how to be a sexual master, teaching him how to handle his sexuality, handle the emotions of sex and love and all that stuff. So, and it's also going to make him stronger too, because he's getting pussy. See, one of the problems with men, men need sex. See, basically, the difference between men and women is men need sex and women need relationships. And men don't really give a fuck about relationships, and women don't really give a fuck about sex. So, you know what I mean? But men need sex. If you're a man and you grow up and you don't have sex, you're going to be broken. You know what I mean? If you go through your life without sex, you're going to be broken. And by the time you get to that age where if you ever do get lucky enough to get laid, you're going to be needy, you're going to be clingy, you're going to be clutching onto something, praying it never goes away. And what that's going to do is going to turn you into a doormat from the woman who's going to walk all over you because she knows you're weak. She knows you're weak. She knows that you're fucking broken, and she's just going to fucking treat you like a piece of shit. And if you have resources, she's going to exploit those and take them from you. And it's just a fucking mess. The world we live in today is broken. And that's the way that goes. So, but when the older woman goes back and trains the boy, and by the time he gets to be 27, 36 or whatever, he's going to have plenty of sexual experience. He's going to know what it's like to fall in love and not really have his heart broken, because that's not really going to happen. That doesn't necessarily have to happen, because remember, the older woman is going to be teaching him about sex, and it's not going to be a relationship where they're expected to do anything. There's going to be no breeding. There's going to be no breeding with it. She's just going to be teaching him about sex. And it's also going to satisfy her later a year, because once a woman gets older sexually, you know, you've all heard about women in their 30s that get super horny and all that stuff, and they want fucking sex and they love sex. Well, they're going to take that and be with a younger man and teach him how to have sex, and he's going to be getting plenty of sex. He's going to be experienced. So by the time he does get older to that 27, 36 range, he's not going to be hard up for sex. He's not going to be in a case of, because most men today live in a state of sexual starvation. Most men just don't get laid. You know, there's the 80-20 rule, right? It's like that 80% of the women are only interested in the top 20% of the men as their ideal choice for a partner. And if you're not that, you're invisible to them. Right, and that's what happens. Most men are in sexual starvation mode perpetually, you know, and that fucks with their mind, because it makes sex. It puts sex. If you've ever seen the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and they're fucking basically the guy's a virgin at 40, and he's putting women on a pedestal, and they're saying you can't do that, blah blah blah. Well, that's basically what happens. You become a simp and a cuck, and you're just weak. Because men need sex to thrive properly. So this young man, while he's going through his training in those younger years to prove himself to be a worthy partner to be paired with, he's going to be getting laid from one or more women. It could very easily be multiple women. And the irony is, it could very well be the mother of the daughter that he's eventually paired with. That's most likely will happen. So when this guy becomes 36, we just remember this is a model. This 36 is the model. It could be younger or older. It's a model. That's all it is. So by the time this boy gets to be 36, and he's paired with an 18-year-old girl to get married and breed with, it's very likely that the girl's mother and him would have already been sexual before that happens. And the beauty of it is that relationship doesn't have to end either, because these can be lifelong relationships too. They never have to end, because a boy loves his mother, or a healthy boy, like a boy who's healthy should always love his mother, right? And girls love their father, right, daddy? And the second childhood the second mother, the sexual mother for the boy, that relationship never has to end, ever. I mean, they can be, and they probably, if it's healthy, it won't end. Because there's a difference between an 18-year-old girl and a 36-year-old woman. You know, there's going to be a vast world of difference. I mean, in the role of the older woman and the younger man, the woman is actually in the masculine role, and the boy, even though he's a candidate to breed, and he's a stud, he's worthy enough to have a woman, he's actually in the feminine role, because she's teaching him how to be a man. So he's taking it in, he's taking in the knowledge and learning how to be a man, and then by the time he gets older, he then steps into his masculine role, where he goes back and teaches the girl and provides for the girl the atmosphere to where she can eventually be the woman that goes back and trains him how to be a man. It's a cyclical thing, and it's going to be a healthy thing. Now, one of the things that you got to understand is, well, if a man does that, he's going to end up being a cuck when he gets older. That's not the case. And the biggest thing about this is that the man, he's not going to give a fuck what his older wife is going to do, because he's not going to be that love spell. That love spell between them is going to long since be gone, right? But that doesn't mean that you break the families up. Remember, the idea is building strong families that build and get stronger through time. That's what you want. You want, like, you know, families like the Kennedys and all these people who build strong families like that. Except the Kennedys are a little bit more perverse, but you get an idea. But they're a strong family, you know, a wealthy, strong family. So what's going to happen is the man is going to be able to have multiple wives. And one of the things, this is really one of the things that, you know, will drive the girls crazy, you know, into anger. Because, that's cheating, blah, blah, blah. No, but that's not the case, because the truth is, now the real truth is that, and I explained this in the other video a little bit more, but the truth is that the more women a man has, the more alpha and stronger he will be. Because one of the things that happen is, like, if you just pair one man and one woman, the woman will eventually emasculate the man, because the women naturally play the long game. That's the way they are. They naturally play the long game. And one of the problems with modern relationships is that when women get paired with a man, and if you live in a model where it's only one man and one woman, the woman feels like that she's won, and it's the game over. So once the woman gets married to the man, she feels like she's won, and it's game over, and there's no more competition. She's already played the game, and she's won, and that's it. There's no competition. And what happens over time is she will eventually henpeck him to death and emasculate him, and he will lose his masculinity as time goes on, because he'll just be a henpecked husband. And that's what happens. That's what happens. But even worse than that is that because she has no competition, she's not going to give a fuck. And she's just going to keep fucking doing that to him over time, and she's going to end up, and that's what's going to make her cheat. And then she's going to cheat and just go find somebody else and fuck, and it's going to be a cheating thing. And it's going to be like that. It's going to be negative, and it's going to be toxic. But in this other way, if the man has multiple women, if the man has multiple wives, that's never going to happen to him, because he's going to have multiple wives. He's going to have as many wives as he can afford. Because remember, there's going to be no welfare for women. Because remember, the world we live in today is broken, and social welfare programs have basically made it so women don't need men. Because what's happened what's happened in the world via feminism is women have inadvertently walked away from their husbands and replaced their husbands with Big Daddy government. So women still have Big Daddy, but it's just not the man anymore. It's Big Daddy government, and they make sure they're protected. So a woman can walk away from a man and get welfare and food stamps and shelters and have all this stuff. And so she doesn't, so there's a safety net for her, but there's not going to be that safety net anymore, because the family is going to be the provider, not government. The government's not going to be giving you welfare. The government's not going to be giving you fucking food stamps. That's going to be gone. That's going to be out the window, right? You gotta wait. This is my dog down here. You can't see her, but you heard her maybe shake. So that's going to be that. So that's the model of what's going on. So the women and the men are going to be allowed to have multiple partners. Now the thing I gotta point out here the important thing is now, when a girl turns 18 years old, she's not going to be just thrown out in the woods to start dating anybody she wants. That's a death sentence to the girl, because what's going to happen ultimately is, if you take a girl, like in today's world, we take girls when they turn 18, we just basically throw them out the door and they have to fend for themselves sexually. That's insane. It breaks women. It breaks them, because what's going to happen if you do that is a young girl is going to meet a young guy at 18, right? And he's going to start fucking her. But a couple things happen when that happens. Like if the guy's a stud, if the girl's beautiful and she gets a stud boyfriend, one of the things that happens once a man gets one woman is that all the other women want him too. That's just the way it goes. So if a man, it's either feast or famine. So if a man, 18-year-old boy, if an 18-year-old boy he's got the potential, he's a stud, he's fucking the quarterback of the football team or whatever, right? He has all the potential that you think, he's going to be a good man, right? He's a stud, he's well built, he's handsome, big dick, fucking all this shit, right? Is that once a woman is interested in him, all the other women are going to be interested in him too. So what's going to happen is, if he has that girlfriend, he's going to have other women that's going to try to undermine her, and they're going to try to get in her place. So he's going to be fucking a bunch of other girls. And what's going to happen is, you're going to break that girl's heart, and once you break her heart, you fuck her. That was very damaging, very, very damaging to the girl. So what I'm talking about with arranged marriage, that might sound like barbaric and fucking like a concept that belongs in the past, but it really doesn't, because it's actually the safest thing. It's the safest thing for the girl, because remember, what the women are, they are the treasure of your family. They are the treasure of your race, and they need to be kept safe and protected, period. And if you have a young, beautiful girl and you throw her out in the fucking wild with no protection, what do you think is going to happen to her? She's going to be ravaged by wolves. And those wolves are men with their dicks. And they're going to be coming after her to give her fucking some dick. And once a man starts fucking a woman on a regular basis, that love spell goes away, because like once you get used to having sex, especially with one woman, but once you get used to having sex all the time, that passion for her goes away. Because it's like, you're basically, it's like eating pizza every day. We all love pizza, but if you eat pizza every day, you're going to get sick of that pizza. Well, that's the same thing with women. And again, so you combine that with the fact that because this man has this young, beautiful girl, this boy has this young, beautiful girl, all the other beautiful girls are going to want him too, because what does he have? You know what I mean? It's sort of like the hive mind of women at play here. So it's like it's the same thing. Like if a man doesn't have a woman, like if you're a weak man or a poorly built man or just an inferior specimen, and you don't have a girlfriend because you're fat and ugly or whatever, no other girl's going to want you either. So it's either feast or famine. So and what happens is these women get hurt by this. So if you have the arranged marriage that when she turns 18, she's given to her husband, that husband's part of his responsibility, and he's going to be trained for this, is to protect her, is to provide for her and protect her and keep her safe. And while she's having her children and breeding, having the kids, he's going to know what's going to happen later, because he's not going to be surprised at this. He's going to know what goes on. He's going to know all this stuff, and his main purpose is to provide for her and keep her safe and keep her in that insulated bubble of her delusions. Because remember, she's going to fall in love with him first, and then once she has her children, she's going to fall in love with her children, and she'll still have appreciation for him, because remember, she's going to be kept safe in this bubble. She's going to be in this bubble of safety where she's going to have her kids, she's going to raise her baby, her only concern in the fucking world is going to be for her children. That's all she's going to be concerned about. Her only responsibility is to have kids, is to make sure her kids are raised properly. She's going to have everything to give them. She's going to have food. She's going to have fucking shelter. She's going to have, the man's going to have the money to make sure she's safe and blah, blah, blah. She's going to have everything she needs. And then by the time she goes through that process and gains her wisdom and develops her masculinity, her healthy, because we all have both, remember that. It's not, we all have part of both. Like the Tao. The Tao is the circle, the yin-yang with the fucking thing in the opposite. We all have both. And if a woman develops her masculinity properly by raising her children, she's going to be wise. When she gets older, she's going to be wise. She's going to have wisdom. She's going to be a woman who knows what she's doing. So when she goes back to train the younger man, she's going to know what she's doing. She's not going to be blindsided by love either. She's going to know the story. And she's going to be able to help guide him through that love, through his feelings. Because the first time that boy fucks her, he's going to fall in love with her. And she's going to help him with that, because she's going to keep giving him sex. She's going to teach him how to be a stud. She's going to teach him how to last. She's going to teach him how to be a fucking competent lover. So that when he gets older and goes back to the young girl, so now there's this sexually experienced man who knows what he's doing. He knows how to touch a woman. He knows how to provide for a woman. He knows how to give her everything that she needs. A good dick and financial security. So that girl is going to be mesmerized. She's going to be like a fucking princess who's in love, and she's going to be in this delusion bubble that you want her in. And then she's going to have her children. She's going to raise her children. She's going to do this and that, da da da. And then by the time she gets older, and she reaches that older place where she has her wisdom, then she is going to be permitted to go back and have these sexual relationships with the younger men to make sure that these younger men become the older man that treated her so well when she was young and naive. Okay? So it's not a case, because what a lot of people are going to think, especially women, is they're going to think I'm talking about this world today, that so when a girl turns 18, she's going to start dating a 40-year-old man who's going to be probably broken, a broken fucking incel probably, or whatever, or maybe not, but whatever. But you can't just have this 40-year-old man dating this young girl, because dating it means you're not marriage, but it means you're fucking without marriage. No, you can't do that, because you're going to ruin the girl, you're going to break her. And whose responsibility is that young girl before she gets married? The father. The father is her protector until they're passed off to the husband, right? And if that if that father allows his daughter to run out and start getting fucking gang banged on Saturday night, he failed as a father. He has to keep her pure, keep her pure for her husband when they get married. And then it's the husband's job to keep her safe and protected until she gets older and has her wisdom, and then she's going to be given her freedom, I guess you could say, later on in life. So this is the model, but it's not about because you're probably thinking that, oh, you're just an old man, old horny fucking guy who wants to fuck young girls. Yes, that's true, but if you do it properly, it's wholesome. If you do it improperly, it's degenerate. So having a 40-year-old man just going around preying on 18-year-old girls and fucking them and throwing them away is not what I'm talking about. Because that is toxic. Because you're damaging the women. You're brutally damaging the women when you do that. You cannot do that. These women need to feel safe and protected. And if a man is, and if the man does have more than one wife, like 2 or 3 wives, the competition factor for him will also keep her at her best. Because as she's going through her life, she's going to want to please this man, because she's going to want time with him, she's going to want his attention and stuff like that. So if she has healthy competition with multiple wives, that will actually make her better. Because as men, we know this. We know competition makes us better. Like if you go out, play a football game, competition makes you better. I mean, competition makes you better as a man. Well, women don't like competition. Women want security and safety. Remember that. So, but if they have that security and safety, and that's guaranteed, because remember, the man's not going to be able to throw her away. That marriage is lifetime, right? So she's protected in the family, and she's going to be provided for when she gets old. That when she's married in the family, remember, you're building a strong family, so she's going to be protected forever. But now that she is protected and safe, now competition is okay, because she's going to be protected and safe. That's her guarantee. That's her fucking rock. But now the competition within the family between wives is healthy and will make for better wives, because their competition, they'll be always trying to outdo each other, right? And they'll be better wives because of it. So it's a much healthier system. I hope this makes sense. I hope you understand what I'm talking about, because topics like this are very, very difficult, because if you don't know, topics like this are only as good as the mind that perceives them. So if I'm saying something and your mind isn't in the same gear as mine or whatever, you're going to take it the wrong way. And you're going to say, oh, that fucking pervert, he just wants to fuck young girls. right? He just wants to do this. He's just trying to justify this. He's trying to justify cheating. He's doing this. He's a piece of shit. That's not what I'm saying at all. And it's up to, there has to be, again, about the tuned instrument analogy, all the strings in the guitar need to be in tune with each other. Now you can tune them in different ways, but the guitar string has to be tuned with itself to be to create music. Okay, it's the same thing with sex. Sex. See, one of the problems with Abrahamism is anti-sex, and one of the problems with Abrahamism also is Abrahamism treats women like property with no value, when in fact women they may be treated like property, but that's the wrong word, because if I say that word, you're going to take it negatively, and it's not like that. Women are treasures. Remember that. It's not property. They're treasures. And what do you do with a treasure? You protect it and keep it safe. And that's what your job as a man is, to protect her and keep her safe. She needs to be protected and kept safe. And oftentimes that protection and safety is protection from herself, especially at a young age. And the difference between a boy and a girl is the girl, her purpose begins, and her sexual marketplace value comes early, and it's basically guaranteed as long as she's healthy and beautiful. And the boy isn't. The boy, when he turns 18, he only has potential, and he has to earn his place to breed. And if he doesn't, he's gone. He's washed out, and he's just going to be. He'll just be washed out, and he won't be allowed to breed. But he'll be allowed to live, but he won't be allowed to breed. So now the thing with boys, just imagine how life would change if you're a boy, okay, and you are taught from the youngest of ages that your life, your entire childhood and life, is a competition to see if you can earn the privilege to breed later in life and have the family that you want to have. So that's going to change everything of how you act, how you think, how you move through the world. You're always going to be trying to strive to make yourself better and be the competent man, because you're going to be in competition with all your peers. You said you're going to be in competition to be the best man that you can be. And if you wash out and you can't fucking cut the mustard, you're not going to breed. You're going to be alone. And that's it. And you're going to be you're just going to wash out and you're going to be done. So a man is always in competition to be the best. And if he's not the best, he's not anything. And the woman is not going to even be with him. So that's it.